Hello, hello, everybody. Peace and blessings. It is that time. It's that time for another interview on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I hope you all are having a great day. I'm going to work to get our guest on here. This beautiful one from out of Texas. Yes, yes, yes. And she is here. She's here. All right, we have added her in from Texas. Yes, how exciting. This is going to be great. Yes, there she is. Yes. Hi there, Angela.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon now. So listen, you all are in for a treat, girlfriends. I'm just saying, because when you get two Angelas in one place,
Yes. It doesn't happen often.
it does not. And how many children do you have, Angela?
I have 6 total.
Okay, she has 6 total with my 8. We got a full house. We could even
Yes.
start a full house right there.
I know.
But she's out of Texas, and for all of you who are joining in, we're going to get started in a little bit. You all go ahead and let us know where you're viewing us from. Angela, it is about to get, let's see, I'm going to do it in 3, 2, 1. Shared. There it is. It's shared onto Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. So you can share as you like as well. Listen, we do a tech check. Depending on the interviewee, I would do it if it's the first time coming on. Maybe I will do a 45-minute prior tech check. And so this is Angela's first time here. And so we got on it. It was, I just tell everything. So 1:15 my time, I guess her time. I was sitting on my bed in the middle of working. I looked a hot mess. So 1:30, I jump in the shower, throwing a scarf, throwing some clothes.
You look amazing. You look amazing.
Whew, with like 2 minutes to spare, let me tell you. So, thank you, Angela. But see how we can transform so quick. Hey, John, thanks for joining us. Hey, Heather, good to have you on here. Angela, let me know when you've shared it, and we will go ahead and get going.
Try it again. Right. I can just write.
You might want to refresh, and that'll get you there.
I don't know how to. Okay, wait a minute. Let me share right here. Can I just share?
Yep, all the
right. Angela post. Okay, I think it did.
Okay, let me see. I'll see a notification. So yes, Angela Vaughn shared. All right. So very good. And now we're going to do one more thing. You all come on in. Let us know where you're viewing us from. Where you homeschool at, what state, what country you might be in viewing us from. We have people internationally too, which is so exciting. Always exciting. So, all right. Have you shared all your locations? Let me know. And then we're going airplane mode. Yes, this is going to be a great day. So yeah, you all have seen me quite a bit as I've had, let's see, I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interviews this week. I think I really, and have you, let me know when you're, no rush, but let me know when you shared, and then we'll get started.
I did share.
Okay. I know my friends on YouTube are like, wow, boom, she's putting out some videos. They've been like one after another, one after another. So yeah, so all right, so here we go. Girlfriends, this is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, and I'm your host, Angela Jordan Perry. I am so delighted to be with you on this beautiful sunny day. I almost was out on my balcony to do this interview because it's so beautiful just to overlook the pasture and hear all the animals. I went out there and it's a little bit toasty. I might have been sweating up in this scarf, so I ain't want to do that to you all, and I look crazy on that balcony trying to get in some vitamin D for today. But what you see here before you, two beautiful melanated women, we are on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. This is a platform to give voice to the African homeschooling diaspora and those of the marginalized homeschooling community. So what does all of that mean? Well, if you know what the diaspora means, it's just a scattering of all those from Africa, melanated skin particularly, who have been scattered. And then you add the homeschooling to it, we're even more fractured because it's not a lot of us, but it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that. And then those who are in the marginalized community, those are the ones who are out on the margins. You don't know too much about them. They're kind of hidden away perhaps, but maybe they are homeschooling because of religious preference. Maybe they're homeschooling because of sexual orientation. Maybe they're homeschooling because their children have some severe or certain special needs. Maybe they're homeschooling, I don't know, the list goes on, but it's not the majority of reasons of why they may be homeschooling, but those specific things that keep them in the margins. So this is a platform for you as well. So my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And I do that in part right here on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I also serve my homeschool community here in the state of South Carolina, where I am an Option 3 Accountability Association Director. And what that means is I give families all over the state freedoms or rights, if you will, legal rights to homeschool in this state. There's certain things they have to do and follow and abide by. I help them to be able to do it legally, to even be able to homeschool. All right, so that's what I do here in the state. I am a homeschool mom of 8 children, married to my sweetheart now almost 26 years. It'll be 26 in July. My first and only boyfriend. I met him at 16, and we've been together for 29 years. So that's our story. We are self-sustaining farmers here. We got a little farm out back with animals where we raise our own meat and food and get eggs every day. I'm excited every time my kids come in with eggs, like, yes, eggs. So needless to say, I eat eggs every day pretty much, but love my eggs. And we have our cow and a steer and big old hogs and guinea pigs and turkeys and a slew of hens running all over the place. And we finally got our gardens going, girlfriends. Excited about that. So that's just a little bit about me. And of course, as you come in, please take a moment to hit the share button, which should be on the bottom to your left, because sharing is caring. And we want the community to know about this platform and to hear beautiful people like our guest today. Oh, so excited. Gorgeous, beautiful, melanated woman and her large family share their story and their journey. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me and my family here. But now we're going to turn our attention over to our beautiful one here. Angela, are you ready to make it happen?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Exciting, exciting. So, all right, let me tell you about Angela. So, Angela D. Vaughn, married to Jonathan for 17 years with 6 children, originally from Chicago, but lives in Texas, about an hour from Dallas. Angela has been homeschooling for almost 13 years. She serves on the board of CASA. I guess that's how you say it. CASA.
Awesome.
In Spanish is CASA. Okay, it's CASA. Okay. In her city, and also worked for a domestic violence agency for 2 years as an educator and on their educational theater program. Theater is her thing, quote unquote, is her thing. She is usually doing something with theater and dance. Angela will be teaching again this summer and have recently gone back to school to finish her degree in theater. You go, girl. High five.
Thank you.
Additionally, Angela owns and operates a small business. She loves physical fitness, running whenever she has time. And as of recent, she's back into yoga. That's my thing. I love yoga. Yes. Angela is a vegan novice. She and her family raised Bichons, a new endeavor as of a few months ago. So I can't wait to hear about that. So Angela, I had just shared just a little bit about you with the girlfriends. Please share more. Tell us more about yourself and actually how you got started in your homeschooling journey.
Okay. Well, I grew up, born and raised in Chicago. Met my husband when we were both working at the same location. And that's how we ended up kind of in Texas. He was in the military, and here we come. We've made kind of the travel. We were living in Virginia for a while, which is actually probably still my favorite place. We were hoping to stay there, but that's just not how things worked out. So we are now in Texas. This is year number 9 for us to be in Texas. And it's good because Texas, you know, the laws for homeschooling are very lenient, and that part is great. So I started homeschooling. My son actually, we did the typical, I mean, we were back then just kind of your typical run of the mill, you know, family going to church and whatever. And we found a really good program for him to go to kindergarten. And it ended up that we were noticing that he was having some struggles that weren't really struggles. Like now I don't consider it a struggle, but the teacher was always talking about why he couldn't keep his feet on the floor. He was moving too much and things like that. And so it just got to a place where we were like, you know, somebody had already kind of placed the seed to talk about homeschooling with me, but I was like, what? What is that? What do you mean? You what? Kids at home? No. And so, but that seed started to grow and it grew. And then, I mean, the Father just kind of kept placing people in our lives to encourage us. And so after that first year of school, my husband, because I'm more of a researcher and like, oh, you know, let's look into this kind of thing. And my husband finally said, no, we're just going to do it. We're going to go ahead and do it. So that was after Bradley's kindergarten year. So he started homeschooling. We started homeschooling him in first grade. And mostly because he just was a boy. He was just being a boy. And that was problematic for school, you know, and older teachers, those more traditional teachers that want kids to sit at their desk, feet on the floor, hands on the desk, you know, that kind of thing. And that wasn't my son. And so I remember us bringing him home and saying, okay, tell me what the problem is, you know, kind of what are you struggling with? And what we found out after some question and answer and all that was that when he put his feet on the floor, he couldn't pay attention because he was focused on keeping his feet on the floor. If I laid a blanket out, threw Legos on the floor, cars on the floor, and if I read to him, Bradley could tell me everything that I had read. He could regurgitate it. And, you know, one of my funny stories is I had found out about, you know, this lady. I talked to her and she had told me, you need to read a lot. Just read a lot. And so I picked a book that was in her little pamphlet. I picked The Scarlet Pimpernel because I didn't look at like difficulty. I was just like, this is a great book. I know a little bit about the Scarlet Pimpernel. So here I am reading to this 6-year-old boy, the Scarlet Pimpernel, and he still remembers the book, and it's still one of his favorites. And that was the beginning for me of watching and going, no, there's something more. There's something else. There's something different, and there's something that we could be doing for our own children. You know, that was the beginning for us. So.
Beautiful. If I have heard it once, I have now heard it dozens of times about our sons, our melanated sons, and their experiences in regular school or public school. Now, I want to preface to all my viewers again that this is never, ever, ever a platform to bash or put down or demean public school anyway. This is not what we do here. Right. We have found a better way for ours, and this is what we want to herald to everyone with like a megaphone. This is working for us, and we want to shout it out that it is working and something to consider. But, you know, Angela, I've heard it about a dozen times about our melanated boys and their just their plight of being in public school. I actually had one. Though he didn't go to public school, he almost did. Yes. But I knew if I put him in public school that he would have been labeled, he would have been on medication, he would have been, you know, just one of my sons spaced out. Not the kid who grew up to be now this kid who's, you know, so subdued and so laid back. But when he was in school, he was.
Mine is too. Yeah. Mine is very laid back. My son is very relaxed, easygoing. And I think the interesting thing was we were at, you know, what we would consider a good school. So it was a private and smaller classroom even. So I'm very thankful that we didn't even go typical public school route, because I think it would have even been worse. So I think, you know, we got a tap on the shoulder and we were like, okay, let's do something different. And so that worked out for us.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us, Angela, again, how you're homeschooling, how many children, and how long have you been homeschooling?
Okay, so it's been 13 years. We're on year 13. My son is done. He is, he's 18. He'll be 19 in July. And then I have a 15, 14, 12, and then we have a huge gap. And so we started all over again, and we have a 5 and a 3-year-old. So
Okay.
I loved homeschooling so much that I just wanted to drag that out even further.
That sounds good. That's a good way to say it.
So yes, so I'm homeschooling all 5 of them. This year has been, the past 2 years have actually been a little bit different because I went back to work. And even though it was part-time, boy, you don't realize how much that can eat away at your time. And so my daughters have been on computer-based, switched on Schoolhouse is what we were using. And as much as it has been a saving grace for us in terms of just them getting what they needed, they hate it. They don't like it. They do not like it. We have always been very intimate in our homeschool. So it's always been everybody gather in, everybody is sitting around, we're reading together, we're sitting at a table together. It doesn't matter, little or big ones. And so they really have shown that computer, my daughter, I got 7th grade for her just to make sure as I transitioned back that just in case I needed the help, it would be there. And she's like, please don't make me, please don't. So I'm really hoping that I won't have to use it because I enjoy the conversation, the interaction, of what we were doing before. It just is a way to, it's very natural for us to be at home, kind of hashing through ideas. And we read a lot of what's called living books. We use Charlotte Mason a lot. I love just the approach of education that you just kind of present it as a banquet table, and kids they may not love everything. We don't love everything we eat, but you taste it just to see, taste everything, see what it's like. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Matter of fact, that's what I was doing when I was talking to you. That's what I was looking at. I'm going over my stuff and kind of, rehashing things in my brain and refurbishing things. So
Yeah, yeah. So tell us, 13 years ago, can you take us back to the very beginning of your homeschooling journey? What was that start like for you
yes.
all?
So when we decided to homeschool Bradley, because he was 6 and my oldest daughter would have only been 3, and I was pregnant, found out we were pregnant. And what was funny was we found out we were pregnant when it was too late to turn around and go back. Just in time we're like, oh, okay, we're all in. So I went to a homeschool convention. A wonderful friend of mine, Loria Grant, who I basically, I could blame him for all the crazy homeschooling stuff, but I'm so thankful. He was so encouraging that I could do this. He was homeschooling his 4 boys, him and his wife, and he was like, "No, you can do this." And so he took me to my very first um, conference. He gave me a book that was by the Blue Dorns, and it was just a way of education. And so I read through this, and so when I got to the conference, Mrs. Blue Dorn was there. So I said, okay, I've got this first grader. What do you need? What am I supposed to be doing? And in my brain, I'm like, am I pulling out the calculators? What am I doing? What is happening? She looked at me, and she so wise, and she hands me a book and she goes, read to him. What? That's it? That was it. Read to him. And so confused. What do you mean read? He knows how to read. I read all the time. Read to him. She gave me that list of books that I was talking about. And so I went home, and because I was pregnant, that I was sick. Oh, so sick. And so we would lay his blanket out. The girls would be playing. I would be on the sofa just trying to survive the day. and I would read for hours, just hours. That's all I would do. And so that was the beginning. I warn people, if you are not familiar with curriculum or sure of what kind of curriculum you want, do not go to a homeschool convention thinking that's going to be the answer, because for some maybe it will, and I shouldn't say that. For some maybe it will be the answer. For me, it was like a 5-year-old in an ice cream store. I was like, okay, I want to do this, and I want it because they all look good. Everything looks good. But I think that one of the blessings of homeschooling is learning yourself too. You're not just teaching your children. You are like, you're just kind of unwrapping the person that you are while you're teaching them, because you have strengths and weaknesses. And, I have a tendency to lean more towards certain subjects than somebody else over on this side. And so a conference is just kind of, to me, it's just too much. It's just too much. Deer caught in headlights. It's just too much. So that was the beginning. So we just started reading. That was our very first year. That's really how we spent it. We would count. We would use, beans. I do that now with my little ones. We use beans and macaroni and things like that, where you're just counting up things. And now, of course, there's different things on, computer or whatever. But it was really, really basic and very easy in the beginning, because they're learning all the time anyway. They're learning all the time.
Yes. Do girlfriends, I'm gonna tell you what, Angela just said so many nuggets right there. I don't know if you caught it, but nugget. One, conferences. I don't think anyone new homeschooling should go to them. Don't do it, because you will be overwhelmed, and then you just will take everything without even knowing who you are. That was the next nugget. Learn who you are. Angela, that was great. Learn your style. And that takes time. I mean, really,
yeah,
4 years to learn what you like. I'm 18 years in, and I'm still discovering some, or considering, some other options of school.
I don't think there's an arrival. I think there's a progression. And I think you get better at picking out what it is that you're doing and how you're presenting it. But I don't think you ever arrive. I think that's one of the things that people fall into that thinking, one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to know it all, and I'm going to be able to do it all. And there it is. My kids are going to sit down. It's going to be, and it hasn't happened. One, because I'm a person with imperfections and faults of my own, good days and bad days of my own. And then I've got 5 other people, at the time 6 other people, that same thing, they have good days, bad days. They have, faults and, idiosyncrasies and whatever. And we're all trying to make that work. And then there are all these different learning styles that I have right in my own home. So that is a whole nother, mind blowing. Like, who knew, all your kids could be different with that,
Yeah, all of them. And a good word like now is, it's evolving. Homeschooling is constant, it's evolving from year to year, throughout the year, constantly, because of all those dynamics you just mentioned. Personalities, life happens, transitions of your life, seasons of life, all of that. And so it causes homeschooling to evolve. And for the wise at heart, remain fluid, right? You'll be fluid. You'll learn how to be fluid and all of that.
A strong suit at all, but it's taught me because that's not me. I was very inflexible, and so it really has taught me a lot about, okay, if something's not working, there's no point in beating a dead horse. Just move on, try something else, or don't make your kids who are, my children who can sit and do work like this. Don't make this child over here do that. That is, that's torture. And I don't want this. I want them to love learning for a lifetime. I want them to love it the same way I get excited still about learning. That's what I want them to have, that forever love of like, oh, today's a new day. What can I learn today? Like what else? What else can happen today? So yeah.
Absolutely. All right, girlfriends got homeschooling. We have beautiful Angela Vaughn here from Texas. homeschool mom of 6, 13 years under her belt, and she's still evolving. And it's okay. She's okay to say, yes, I'm still evolving. She hasn't woke up yet and like, okay, I got this thing together. Cha-ching.
No,
No, we don't say that. So if you're new to homeschooling or considering homeschooling, just hear it right now. I mean, we are veterans. And with that said, my other point was, I think that now, not that I'm even interested to, but once you've been in homeschooling for a while, maybe then branch out to these conferences, these
yeah,
conventions, because now you know a little bit of what you're looking for, what you do like, and what you just don't want to consider at all.
right. Well, and I don't go for the curriculum anyway, most of the time, unless
Yeah,
there's something specific that I have. I'm looking for programs. Oftentimes I'm looking to hear seminars, the
right.
lecture, things like that, or even socializing, just kind of, meeting other homeschool families that, it gives us a way to do that. But never am I going because I'm like, I need to go look for
Yeah.
something. So I
Yeah.
usually have something in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing here, but I've not been in absolutely years. I mean, I really don't have a desire to, but
Yeah.
that's okay because educating our own, we're going to provide a platform, and that's another part of Girlfriends Guide. You just wait, educating our own is going to be very exciting. So anyway, I had to just put that little commercial in there, Angela. Excuse me, I digress.
That's okay.
But Angela, on this part of our show, this is my favorite question because it brings us all to humanize all of us and who are homeschooling. But take us to your worst day of homeschooling, Angela, where it was so bad, maybe you considered quitting, like you're done. I'm done. I'm packing you all up. Maybe you're wanting to be done for good, or was going to be done for that day or for that moment or whatever. Take us to that day, Angela.
I think there were a few days that was happening, and it was mostly when I was pregnant, so emotions were high, kind of thing, and I was just trying to figure out. So what I had done, when I had my baby, or when I was about to have my baby, I decided that I need more structure. That was what I was thinking. So I had a good friend who's very different personality than me, and she's like, "Oh, I love this curriculum." So I was like, "Okay, tell me why." So she's like, "Oh, this is, it lays this all out, and you have this and that and the other thing." I ordered it. My husband was like, "Yeah, get it." Okay, I got it. Not one day of success. Not one day. It was awful, and all it did was make me feel like a failure. Every single day made me feel like a failure. And as much as and it's like it's gone. Like I'm trying to remember the curriculum. I can't even remember. And I still use some of their material, but I cannot use their entire, they send you the beginning of the year or whatever, you get your big book and you've got your supplementary materials and you've got your reading materials and all this. And they have these like this was supposed to go for 20 minutes, or this was supposed to go for 30 minutes, or whatever. It was so bad. It was so, so bad. It just didn't work for me. I am as inflexible as I can be. I am not that type of a structured person. And so it was the worst decision I could have made. But it turned out, I was like, I can't do this. That was what it made me think. I cannot do this. I'm not a teacher. I cannot teach my kid. I'm about to ruin this boy. This is going to be awful. Whatever. And so that was probably the worst. I mean, there were some, times in teaching math, tears, usually, somebody burst into tears because of a math problem or whatever. There were a couple of those. And at first, I would threaten and be like, "You're just going to go to school." And then eventually I was like, "I'm not sending you to school. There's no way I'm sending you to school. I would rather you be dumb as a doorknob." I know that this is the best way. So no, I'm not sending you to school. So I stopped those threats. But that first year of using that curriculum, it was just, that was the worst. That was the worst. So
Mm-hmm. I'm going to send you a message and say, tell me what that curriculum
I know,
is.
I'm really trying to think of it because I love it. And I know for other people it works very well. I have friends that have used it throughout their entire homeschool career. They have used it for all of their children. I like their reading books. Sunlight, there it is, Sunlight. And I love, they have great literature, they have lovely things. But for me overall, that's just not, I couldn't handle that kind of, that kind of structure. It is a wonderful curriculum. So this is no means of me going, don't do that. Because some people, it really works for them. It
Yeah.
lays out thing and they thrive like that. It just made me wilt. I just was like, I am horrible. I don't know what I'm doing. That's kind of, it was bad, really bad.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, take us to your most memorable day. Contrastly to that,
Okay.
the day where maybe it just moved you to tears and you just was warm all over. Hi, Julia. And you were just warm and warm-hearted all over, and you thought, this right here is why we do what we do and why I have stuck this out to homeschooling. Take us to that moment.
I think the first moment that pops in my brain, it's actually two. So two moments. One just happened probably a few days ago, maybe a week ago. My daughters were in the back seat and we were driving. I can't remember where we were coming from, but they were bored. Oh, and they were trying to think of things to do in the car. So we've been driving for a while and we had to make a whole bunch of stops and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what else are we doing? They started quoting their poems from back years ago. So Paul Revere's Ride and one of Phyllis Wheatley's poem, oh my goodness, Ode to Morning, I think is what it's called. And they were reciting these poems. And it's been a while because I've been at work. We haven't gone over. We used to refresh and review our poetry. And so it's been a minute. And so that to me just gave me tingles because I was like, I love the arts and poetry, opera, things like that to me are so important. And so to know that they are remembering, though, even if it's just a passage or a line from it, to me, I'm like, yes, that's beautiful. But I think my most memorable thing is when we were sitting reading the biography of Phyllis Wheatley. And we were all together in the living room, and my daughters were all on the floor. And I think I had my baby, I might have been pregnant, and it just was one of those days where they were so interested. They were so engaged. We do narration back. So I read and then you tell me, what was going on? And we got to discuss things, obviously her story starts with, slavery. They had pulled her onto this ship. But it was such a wonderful afternoon that I just didn't want it to end. Mm-hmm. I did not want it to end. It felt like everything that I thought homeschooling was supposed to be at that moment. It was just that day. It was a wonderful day.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. Girlfriends, again, this is Girlfriends That's Got Homeschooling. You all go ahead and hit the share button, which you should find on the bottom on your left-hand side of your page, because sharing is caring, and be grateful if you do that and get the word out about this platform. So again, I'm Angela Jordan Perry, the host of this show with Angela Vaughn, homeschooling mom of 6 out of Texas. And just listening to her nuggets and her excitement, enthusiasm for homeschooling should hopefully give you all a spark of excitement. It just exudes from, I can feel it, and it just got me all excited for today. And so thank you, Angela, for, just taking up your time and sharing all this. So we're going to go to our last part of the show, where these are some questions just to pick your brain, give us a quick impromptu answer right there. Okay. So Angela, what is your mantra or your quote that you say to yourself over and over and over to keep you through this homeschooling journey?
Okay. So, practice makes permanent. That's one of them. Learning to let go of that whole perfection thing. And especially because I have a couple of perfectionists in my house. So I might be one of them, but I have 2 daughters who are especially like that. And then the other one, honestly, is something so simple. It's bloom where you're planted. And I think that was important because we have had to move around so much. Um, and we've had to figure things out. And, you know, sometimes co-ops worked for us, sometimes they didn't. And, but our family is still growing and they're still progressing. My daughters are still doing well. My son is doing well. And so just blooming where you planted, I think is to me like, you know, just find the thing that you're good at and don't try to be somebody else over there, you know. And I've really talked to myself about that. I've gotten much better with that over the years. Stop comparing and whatever. I'm not a mathematician. I cannot teach trigonometry to my children. I passed trigonometry, but that is not probably something you want me teaching. Now, you want me to teach literature and history and, you know, theater and bring that on. And so I try to bloom in those areas. And then the other stuff, I try to find help where I can. So, yeah.
Do you plan to homeschool your crew all the way to their end of their journey until college, business, whatever?
Yes, I do. And Bradley decided at the last year, kind of getting close to last year, he was in a theater production. And so I had given him, he had worked, he started working when he was 15. And boys are very different than girls. And so one of my experiences was that he was exercising those independence muscles and mama needed to move out of the way. And so we let him work at 15 and he worked a lot. And so school was just kind of almost sprinkled in between working, really. He's one of the most intelligent people that I know. He's one of the most thoughtful people that I know, but he definitely did not finish up the way I thought he would. He decided, I said, okay, you know, I need you to finish these things and then I'll be comfortable with passing on a diploma to you. If you don't finish these things, he said, yeah, I don't think so. So I was like, oh, okay. So he decided to go get his GED. I'm like, well, all right then. I mean, you know, it's not exactly but get a diploma. That's all we cared about. Get a diploma, however it's going to look. So he wants to start, he'll probably start junior college this fall, but he needed to find and he's always been that way. He needs to find his own way. You can't really dictate to Bradley. Even his relationship with the Most High is his. And that's one of the things that we always wanted. We told, I'm not your savior. I have no heaven or hell to send you to. So a lot of things that I said got proven to me how much I really believe them, because sometimes we're just, you know, we're just talking. We're talking what sounds good. Yes. You know what I mean? And then the father is kind of like, okay, you said that. So let's see. How much do you really mean it? And so a lot of my, you know, at this point is I really want children who have a relationship with the Most High. I want children who are willing to chase their dreams. I want children who are willing to try anything, see if it works. And I, you know, so yes, homeschooling all the way through is definitely, that's not even a question. I find help where I need it because I can't do all the subjects. I just can't. So I find them wherever I need to find them. I have a daughter that's an artist. I can't teach you art. I cannot do that. So let's find where we can, you know, where we can get you training. And so it's funny how the Father will bring what you need too. He will bring it. He will bring it at the right times. So yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what curriculum or book that you have in your own library that you have found has been such a benefit to you and, you know, starting your homeschooling journey?
So I went through a lot of different things and I ended up landing on, so when I read the Blue Dorns, to me, that was the most, and I cannot even remember the name of their book right now. I have two copies because my husband lost one and had to replace it, and then we found the other one. So the Blue Dorns wrote a book years ago, and reading that book, it was like somebody pouring peace over me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is a natural thing. This isn't something that needs to be contrived. First of all, I said it already, children are learning all the time. The main thing that I need to do is be intentional. That's the main thing. So they're watching me. They are watching me interact with people. They're watching me live. They're watching me respond to situations. They're watching me do all these things. Homeschooling to me is more about so many other things than academics. And so when I realized that part, it has really taken a lot off of my shoulders, because I feel like most children have aptitude to learn. Just because they haven't been presented it by the time they're 13 doesn't mean that they can't.
Mm-hmm.
So a kid that has to learn algebra can still learn algebra even if they don't start learning until they're 19. That's okay. You know, if their mama can't do that, that's okay. But there's some real basics that they can learn. And if you can teach a kid to read, then you're okay. You're doing great.
I agree. Absolutely. What is your best piece of advice that you have received during this homeschooling journey, Angela?
Just the confidence to believe that we were given this ability to teach our children. You asked me about my favorite quote. So in the beginning, Yah created. And I think that for the longest time, I was stuck on Genesis because I think it's all about going back to the beginning of how things were. And in the beginning, we didn't have schoolhouses. Kids were not going off to go to a classroom with other 5, 6, 12, 15-year-old children. And being, put into a classroom, that wasn't so. Oftentimes when people go, traditional school, I think that's funny, because actually traditional school is not a classroom school. Traditional school is discipleship. It is learning at home. It's holding your kid's hand and walking them through life. That's what traditional school is. So for me, that's most important. And so in the beginning, remember that you can do this because you were given that ability. We all were. We're all given that ability to do so. We just have to tap into it. It's not always, it doesn't always feel super comfortable because we have so been trained out of it that it feels very scary sometimes. But those abilities are still there.
That was good right there. We could close our shop. She just said, "Hope that was a sermon right there." That right there. That's huge. That's huge. And I say that all the time. You have been given everything you need right inside of you. You just got to tap into it. That's it. That's it. Beautiful said. All right. So here we go. We're on our last question. The $1 million question. Are you ready, Angela?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Angela, if you had to start all over again today, number 1 of your homeschooling journey, but you have your current wisdom, knowledge, skills, convictions, insights, all the knowledge that you have gleaned over these 13 years, but you get to start all over, what would be the first thing you'd be sure to implement this time around, and something you would be sure not to do this first time around of homeschooling?
Okay, so honestly, the first thing that pops in my mind is the what not to do, and I think most of that is that, don't. I've heard other women say it. Don't bring that school setting into your home. That is not homeschooling, and some people I know feel like they have to do that. But I feel like if that's what I'm going to do, they might as well be in that building. I want them to experience life. So I don't want to bring that. So when I bought Sunlight, that was a little bit of that, trying to bring that structure which just doesn't work. Because when do you cook breakfast at school? When do you know, my daughter is learning how to decorate today just because she thought she wanted to. And so she's got her frosting and her little utensil, and she's like, well, that doesn't happen, in a classroom. You can't walk up to the teacher and say, hey, I really want to do this. And they're like, sure, go ahead and try. It's just not going to happen. So embrace the fact that you are at home without those schedules. So that would be the first thing. The thing that I would implement, I think I would focus more on scripture, memorization, and probably like just taking more from the scriptures as a basis for schooling. Because there is so much in there, and I really want them to know that book better than anything. So, and yes, more Black history stuff. I didn't start doing that firsthand until later, and it was funny because I really felt like my children were the ones that kind of led that. They would find a book, and I'm like, I didn't know that. And so trying to piece together things that are more specific towards us, and just, not knocking stories of other folks or whatever, but really giving my own children some nuggets where they see themselves or see their culture, see their family, their ancestors, things like that. Put that in there. Make that more intentional. Yeah.
Our friends, let me tell you, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And this hour, you've been hanging out with Angela Vaughn out of Texas, this homeschool mom of 6. What a positive influence I'm sure she's been to you for this hour. So you all keep up the momentum, continue to connect with other positive homeschooling mamas. Get yourself a sister circle. That's my new term, sister circle, to support you in your homeschooling journey. Angela was telling me earlier that she is so grateful for this platform because she feels like she's connected with some sisters in her circle. And so that's what it's about. We are building this village. And so you don't feel like you're alone. But listen, continue to connect with positive resources that's going to influence you for the good. And you be that positive resource that others can draw from. It's a give and take of this positivity and our homeschooling atmosphere that we're in, this community that we're a part of. So Angela, listen, I just want to tell you, thank you so much again for giving up your time, your insights, your wisdom, your nuggets to impart into thousands of homeschooling mamas and daddies who's a part of this community. So thank you so much. Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling appreciates you for all you're doing. Thanks, Angela.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, all right, girlfriends, it's your turn. Listen, get on that journey of your homeschooling. All right, get on the journey. Everything that you need, just like Angela said, everything you need is already within you. You just have to tap into it. And if by chance you can't get a hold of it, then get a hold of some other people who have that resource and connect with them.
Yes.
Make it happen, okay? And if you're already homeschooling, I pray, my prayer, Angela's prayer, I'm sure, is that this has been of value to you for this hour, and all of the shows are bringing value to you and to your homeschooling journey, okay? So just remember, here we go. This is my favorite saying. Remember, to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep making a positive impact day after day, year after year through your homeschooling efforts, because it will pay off. Angela has a grown son. I have 3 grown children, and they're now in the world. And you know what? Once we've done what we need to do, then we get to let go. Woohoo! How hard that can be, but very easy. But all through their life, we've been shaping them and shaping the future through our efforts. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, well, thank you, girlfriends. Until next time, be sure again to share this video. If you have not touched the share button, go ahead and touch that share button, get it out so that other girlfriends can see this resources, other dads, and you just never know who may be considering homeschooling, okay? So sharing is caring. Go over to Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Make sure you hit the like button. It's Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. Easy to find. We're on YouTube. Find us there. Again, the same thing. We're on Instagram, the same thing. Tumblr, the same thing. And Twitter, we're all there. Angela Jordan Perry, Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, okay? Connect with us, and you all have a great one. Thanks again, Angela. We'll be in touch. Peace, everybody.
Thank you. Shalom.
Peace.